Biden's campaign, Secretary of State Anthony Blinken specifically was the one that orchestrated that letter. So there was a conspiracy by the Biden campaign to create this letter to falsely say that the laptop was fake when it was in fact real. This is a huge story. It shows that amount of election interference upon all these officials and the media who then squash the story. So I believe this will be an ongoing theme throughout the rest of the campaign.
Welcome to The Debrief, where we talk with the Washington Examiner's top journalists about the headlines they're covering and where the story's going next. I'm Sarah Bedford, and I'm here with commentary editor Conn Carroll. Conn, the Hunter Biden conviction, just a few days ago at the time of this taping, do you think that that conviction will have any impact on Joe Biden's campaign?
I do, for the simple reason that when you go back and you look at the October 2020 debate between Trump and Biden, there was a very key moment where Trump brought up the Biden family business and how it had taken money from Chinese Communist Party officials, Ukrainian officials, and then Biden absolutely denies it and says, look, that laptop is Russian disinformation. I have this letter here signed by 40 people in the intelligence community saying this is all Russian disinformation. But in the process of Hunter Biden's trial, Biden's DOJ himself admitted that everything that was on that laptop was true. So, and what we know from later reporting, actually a lot done by the House of Representatives committee into this, is that Biden's campaign, Secretary of State Anthony Blinken specifically, was the one that orchestrated that letter. So there was a conspiracy by the Biden campaign to create this letter to falsely say that the laptop was fake when it was in fact real. This is a huge story. It shows that amount of election interference upon all these officials and the media who then squash the story. So I believe this will be an ongoing theme throughout the rest of the campaign.
The Supreme Court also ruled this week unanimously that the abortion pill can remain accessible through the mail. And I was quite surprised when you sent me a piece this morning suggesting that you agree with this ruling.
Yes. Well, I was able to send it right after the verdict because I wrote it months ago. Basically, this was it was just a bad case on the law. So you had a number of doctors in Texas who were arguing that this abortion pill, which again has been legal in the United States for 23 years, that it was harming them as doctors because they had to treat patients in their clinics that were harmed from this pill. We can't get into a whole hour lecture on standing in federal court. However, as one law professor said, this would be like saying anybody who runs an auto body shop could challenge any federal highway regulation because that would mean more cars are coming in. Essentially, the nexus between the harm wasn't specific enough to those doctors, the court held. And this, if you follow standing, was very clear from the beginning. This group of doctors brought the case anyways, and they lost 9-0 in the Supreme Court.
Who would have standing to challenge something like a ubiquitous abortion pill access then? Well,
for example, any woman who took the pill and be harmed would have a lot clearer case, but they, for whatever reason, were not able to find someone to come forward to do that. The other problem they faced was statute of limitations in the sense that the original cocaine of the pill itself was 23 years ago. They were challenging that initial decision. But the statute of limitations on challenging administrative agency's decision is only 6 years. So what they're hanging it on was that during COVID, Biden had made some, or before COVID, Obama had made some other changes to the availability of the abortion drug. And they were hanging their head on that, even though those minor changes were not what it was not the original approval that they were challenging.
And finally, the EU parliamentary elections were this past week, and there were some surprising results. Haven't gotten too much attention here in the U.S., but some results that could spell trouble for Joe Biden, some promising signs for Donald Trump if we're going to see everything through the America First lens. Tell us about that.
And why shouldn't we?
Why not?
No, I mean, migration is a global issue. It is afflicting not just our southern border here. It is also afflicting Europe. You have a case where Democrats and people on the left believe that migration is caused by poverty and climate change and all these other problems, and they're just wrong. Migration is caused by rising wealth, actually. You have all these people in these third world countries who are now have the means to have smartphones, cell phones. They can see how people are living. They can coordinate. They can send money. And so These same issues that are afflicting our southern border are also afflicting Europe, where you have governments there that, like Biden, are just letting in thousands, millions of migrants who are then being held unaccountable for the crimes they commit. And there's been a backlash. And so what you saw in the EU elections that were held for over a week, but the results were announced on Monday, was a huge move to the right, and that a lot of the parties that did well and surpassed the centrist parties were parties that were pro-border enforcement, that were for ending the admission of refugees and asylum seekers into Europe.
Well, Conn, thank you so much for being here today.
Absolutely.
You can get more writing from Conn and the rest of the commentary team at washingtonexaminer.com.